if you were to drive between Mangalore and Kundapur and step into a home where food is still prepared the traditional way, this is the sort of curry, this is the sort of sagu that you would find. Every once in a while, you want to escape the hustle and bustle of the city to a time in the past where things were perhaps relatively still, to a time when things were calmer and perhaps a lot more at peace. One such eatery is New Modern Hotel that has been serving its patrons for the last 6 decades. When you step into New Modern Hotel, it's akin to stepping into a glorious time in the past. You feel like you've stepped back into a place in history when time stood still. You look around you, this is perhaps what the setting must have been like in the 50s and 60s when this establishment first began. Namaskara sir. Namaskara. Hegidira? Chanagideve. So I am here with Mr. Padmanabha Adiga, who has been running New Modern Hotel since 1967. Andre 50 years aito, 52.
58 years.
58 years. And I am with his son, Purushottam and Prakash. Nice to meet you. So it was you and your brother,
His father,
who took over New Modern Hotel. So New Modern Hotel adkinta munche sa yaವಾಗ start ಆಯಿತು New Modern Hotel? 57. So New Modern Hotel began in 1957 and the brothers took over New Modern Hotel in 1967. So we're just looking at some pictures from the past. So that is when the hotel was opened.
this was in 1964. You can see the date there.
64, okay.
64.
So that's Mr. Lal Bahadur Shastri who visited New Modern Hotel then.
And Mr. Kamraj.
And Mr. Kamraj. People talk about New Modern Hotel, andre ಈಗ ಎಷ್ಟು 60 years ಆಯಿತು. ಈವರೆಗೆ ಆ ಥರವೇ ಪಾಪ್ಯುಲಾರಿಟಿ ಇದೆ. ದೂರದಿಂದ ಬರ್ತಾರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ತಿಂಡಿ ತಿನ್ನಲಿಕ್ಕೆ, ಟು ಈಟ್ ದೋಸಾ, ಟು ಈಟ್ ದ ವೆಜಿಟೇರಿಯನ್ ಮೀಲ್. ಯಾಕೆ ನ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡರ್ನ್ ಹೋಟೆಲ್ ಎಷ್ಟು ಪಾಪ್ಯುಲರ್ ಇದೆ ಆ ಕಾಲದಿಂದ?
ಏನು ಐಟಮ್ಸ್ ಅದೇ ಥರ ಮೇಂಟೈನ್ ಮಾಡೋದ್ರಿಂದ.
ಓಕೆ.
ಏನು ನಾವು 57-67ರಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ವಾಲಿಟಿ ಕ್ವಾಂಟಿಟಿ ಮೇಂಟೈನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ, ಅದೇ ಕ್ವಾಲಿಟಿ ಕ್ವಾಂಟಿಟಿನ ಇವತ್ತು ಮೇಂಟೈನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. ಸೇಮ್ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ವರ್ಕರ್ಸು ಕೂಡ ಅದೇ ಥರ 40-50 ವರ್ಷದಿಂದ ಅವರು ವರ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೇ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ.
ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ ವರ್ಕರ್ಸ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ 40-50 years?
ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ನೋಡಿ, 50 ವರ್ಷದಿಂದ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಈ ಥರ ಒಂದು 6-7 ಜನ ವರ್ಕರ್ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ.
ಸೊ ಅವರು ನಿಮ್ಮದು ಕೋರ್ ಟೀಮ್. So that's very interesting. So what he says is that they do things exactly the way it was done 5-6 decades ago in terms of the way the dishes were prepared, the ingredients that are used, and most importantly the people that work here that do it, right? So they've been here for the last 4-5 decades and he says they are the pillars of New Modern Hotel. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೇನು ಫೇಮಸ್ ಇದೆ ನ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡರ್ನ್ ಹೋಟೆಲ್ನಲ್ಲಿ, ಏನೇನು ಡಿಶಸ್ ಟ್ರೈ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಇಲ್ಲಿ?
ದೋಸೆ, ವಡೆ ಸಾಂಬಾರ್, ಇಡ್ಲಿ ಸಾಂಬಾರ್, ಸ್ವೀಟ್ ಹಲ್ವಾ, ಜಾಮೂನ್,
Chiroti,
Penny.
all traditional old sweets.
All traditional old sweets. We've also tasted the dosas here before. We've tasted the lovely masala dosa. We've also tasted the ragi dosa when we came here to shoot the top dosas of Bengaluru. So I'm going to put a link to that episode right here. Do take a look at it if you haven't yet. The vegetarian meal is also very popular here. All right.
South Indian vegetarian.
South Indian vegetarian meal.
Rasam, sambar.
South Indian and in that South Canara.
South Canara. Correct. So you come from Kundapur.
Yeah.
Okay. So the Uta sa adu region in the way.
ಅದೇ ಟೇಸ್ಟ್.
Other taste. So if you want a South Canara vegetarian meal, which is what I have come here for, New Modern Hotel is a place to try it. And I'm told some of the dishes are still on the stove, so we'll just go inside and take a look at how they are prepared, including
Badam halwa.
Badam halwa. So one of the most popular sweets, traditional sweetmeat here is the Badam halwa. Badam halwa ಎಷ್ಟು ಟೈಮಿಂದ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೀರಾ? ಮುಂಚೆಯಿಂದ?
From the beginning.
From the beginning. So the Badam halwa here is very popular. We're going to go inside and watch how that Badam halwa, which is hugely popular, over the last many decades is made. ನೋಡ್ಬೋದಾ ಸರ್?
ಸಂತೋಷವಾಗಿ ನೋಡಿ.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. He says, come in and watch it happily. That's what we're going to do. The kitchen is abuzz with activity. They're getting busy for lunch now. Oh, I can see those cauldrons of rasam. Rasam andre huli alla? Huli kare. So this is a rasam. Idu lunch ige ಇವತ್ತು. Idu?
This is Majjige huli.
Majjige huli. Okay.
What we prepare in Karnataka, what you call is Malnad preparation. Similar to that.
So ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು ವ್ಯತ್ಯಾಸ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ? What is the difference?
Coconut and curd.
Coconut and curd and some tempering. I can see some
Pumpkin.
with pumpkin inside. And this is served only on Friday.
Only on Friday.
So we are lucky we are here on a Friday, so we're going to taste some Majjige hulli also. This is tomato rasam.
ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ತಮಿಳು, ಆಂಧ್ರ ರಸಂ, ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಸಾರು.
ಸಾರು. ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ತಿಳಿ ಸಾರು ಕರೀತಾರ? ತಿಳಿ ಸಾರು, ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್. ಅಂದರೆ ರಸಂ ಬರೀ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮದು ಊರಿನಲ್ಲಿ ತಿಳಿ ಸಾರು ಅಲ್ಲ ಇದು. So this is the rasam which is actually called the tili saru in South Canada. So when you talk about tili saru basically talks about the consistency which is quite thin, and the saru is of course the gravy, but there's coconut milk over there. Okay. So he says in South Canada, that is that belt between Mangalore and Kundapur, they also put some coconut oil on top which gives it that flavor. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾಕೆ ಹಾಕಲ್ಲ ಅಂದರೆ ಜನರಿಗೆ
ಕಡಲೆಕಾಯಿ ಎಣ್ಣೆ,
ಕಡಲೆ peanut oil, groundnut oil. That's why you put coconut milk. So because they use groundnut oil here, which is what is most suited to the locals here, they use coconut milk in the teli saru when it's being prepared. That's the badam halwa, that famous badam halwa here at New Modern Hotel being made. So ಏನೇನು ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ ಸರ್ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ? ಸಕ್ಕರೆ, ಬಾದಾಮ್, ಸೊ ಬಾದಾಮ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಪೌಡರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ? ಗ್ರೌಂಡ್ ಬಾದಾಮ್. ಅಂದರೆ ಅದು ಇಷ್ಟು ತಿನ್ ಹೇಗೆ ಇದೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಕೋವಾ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಗಟ್ಟಿ ಇರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ?
ಹೇಗೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಕೋವಾ ಮತ್ತು ಬಾದಾಮ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಗ್ರೇವಿ ಥರ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತೀವಿ. ವಿ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಕುಕಿಂಗ್ ಇಟ್. ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ಸಮ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಆಲ್ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ 3/4 ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಂಗೆ ವಿ ಆ್ಯಡ್ ಗೀ ಟು ದಟ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಮೇಕ್ ಇಟ್ ಥಿಕ್.
ಇದೇನು ಸರ್?
ಇಲಾಚಿ ಪೌಡರ್.
ಏಲಕ್ಕಿ. ಸೊ ಅಂದರೆ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಬಾದಾಮ್, ಗ್ರೌಂಡೆಡ್ ಬಾದಾಮ್, ಕೋವಾ, ಶುಗರ್, ಘೀ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಇಲಾಚಿ ಫ್ಲೇವರಿಗೆ. ರೇಷಿಯೋ ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ? ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಬಾದಾಮಿಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಕೋವಾ, ಎಷ್ಟು ಸಕ್ಕರೆ?
ಅರ್ಧ ಕೆಜಿ ಕೋವಾಕ್ಕೆ 1/4 kg ಬಾದಾಮ್.
So half kilo kova and 1/4 kilo badam. And sakre?
ಸಕ್ಕರೆ
Half kilo. So andre half kilo kova, half kilo sakre, 1/4 kilo badam. 1/4 kilo ghee. So there is some cardamom that has gone into it now. Adu bari flavor ige. So what is in there now is the badam, is the kova and the sugar, and he's also put some cardamom in that to flavor. So once it thickens, that's when the ghee goes in. So Mr. Narayan here has been doing this for the last 40 years. I've been watching him now for the last 20 minutes just stirring away. So like they said, it's not about the ingredients alone, it's about the way you prepare it, the technique. Otherwise everybody can make this. But it's a technique. And the flame. So the flame has been switched off completely, and now he's going to put the ghee to finish that badam halwa. So now that badam halwa is cooking on the residual heat that is contained in that vessel. You can see the streaks of ghee, but as he mixes it in somewhat of an 8 pattern, that ghee is getting infused. That ghee is coming together, melding into that badam halwa mix. Some more ghee. You know the amount of ghee that goes into this is the reason why this dessert, this badam halwa is so lusciously rich. There's some ghee that's going on the platter. That tatte or that plate is now getting ready to receive that badam halwa. Oh, wow, wow. You can see all that badam halwa. He's scraping every bit of that rich, decadent badam halwa. You know, I'm told this is very hot, but I can't wait to taste this. Oh, it's hot. I think I burnt my finger there because I couldn't wait to taste it. But the moment you put it into that mouth, that badam halwa fills every pore of your palate with that ghee, with the texture of the almonds, with that milky richness of that koa. That's what you taste. It's all come together as one and it's so lush on your palate. You know, watching this badam halwa cook, my mouth was watering all the way through. And I tasted a bit, but I want to taste some more. That is such a luscious dessert. So we're with 3 generations of the New Modern Hotel family. Of course, the establishment began with Mr. Adiga here and of course his son here, Shripad. And of course there's Sriram, who's a 3rd generation, who's of course pursuing his own career at this point in time. This hotel, you've had it for the last 60 years. So have things changed in 60 years?
Definitely.
What has changed?
It has changed a lot. Lifestyle has changed.
Lifestyle has changed.
Earlier, people were not coming to the hotel much. They were all being cooked in the house itself. Over the time, people cooking inside has come down. People eating outside has increased. Yeah. Working women have increased.
So today, in a manner of speaking, to idu manedu uta aa kaladu taste ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬರಬೇಕು ಅಲ್ಲ
That's right.
ಅಲ್ಲದ್ರೆ otherwise you will forget the taste.
Yeah.
So I think in a manner of speaking, establishments like yours have that responsibility today.
Yeah.
You are preserving a culinary heritage. You're not just selling food, you're not just preparing meals, you're preserving a culinary heritage. They're preserving a way of life, and I think that's so important to have in today's society. You know, when everything is moving fast, when everything is moving rapidly, people are busy, people have no time to be in the kitchen, etc. You still want to be connected to the great times, you still want to be connected to your tradition, you still want to be connected to your heritage. And the best way to find that connection is through food. And that's where establishments like New Modern Hotel that have stood the test of time for 5 or 6 decades come into play. I think that's the contribution that you're making to society today.
Today, the concept has been dip and eat. Dip and eat, but we don't have it here. It is all slow cooking.
All slow cooking.
Slow cooking, and it has its own aroma, flavor, and nutrition. It's all slow cooking.
All slow cooking, that's what they say. And on that note, I can't wait to get to the table and taste my South Canara vegetarian meal here at New Modern Hotel. So I've also been told that they do a tatte idli which is served around this time. You won't find it in the morning, but you come around 11ish, 11:30, you will find the tatte idli. And I haven't tasted that here yet. So I said, let's taste the tatte idli before we get to the vegetarian meals here. The idli is served with a sambar and a chutney, and it's smeared with that ghee. I'm supporting it with my fingers because if I don't, this tatte idli is going to break under its own weight. Tatte idli is nice, soft. It's got a slightly pasty texture and a slight tart edge. I'm going to taste this with the chutney. Just get that generous dip of the coconut chutney or the kai chutney here. Oh, I love that green chili bite of this chutney. The chutney is rich in the coconut and then it's got that green chili that gives it that hot green chili spike. The sambar is thick, tasty. I can taste a hint of the hingu or the asafoetida and that slight sweetness that comes from the jaggery that goes into the sambar. Next we're going to dunk the tatte idli into the sambar, get some of that tomato and also get that chutney. That's a tasty idli chutney sambar. So there you have it, my South Canara style vegetarian thali. So it comes with a bunch of dishes. I've asked for the puri, you can ask for the puri or the chapati. I've got the rasam or the trili saru as it is more commonly known in South Canara in Kundapur. I've got the majjige saru, a gravy that's made with buttermilk, the curd of course, and then they have the sagu or a vegetable curry which is made of lady's finger today. And I've got a palya. This palya is made with sweet potato today. And of course the rice and the papad. Of course there's also some pickle and some salt right there. And all this for the princely sum of 80 rupees. Can't resist a good papad ever, can you? I'm going to make a beginning with this bendekai or lady's finger sagu. This gravy is thick. It's tempered with mustard seeds. I can spot some tomato in here. Let's taste this. The lady's finger has absorbed all the masala from that gravy, yet is crisp on the bite. I love the creamy pop of the lady's finger seeds. You can taste the richness of the coconut in this sagu. I'm going to take some of the puri and dunk it into this sagu. That's such a comforting bite. If you were to drive between Mangalore and Kundapur and step into a home where food is still prepared the traditional way, this is the sort of curry, this is the sort of sagu that you would find. I love this. Truth be told, I'm not a big fan of the sweet potato. It doesn't figure on my top list of vegetables. But when you're served the vegetable as part of your review, you eat it, you taste it. The mustard that's gone into it gives it a nice peppery sort of a bite. I love the fact that the sweet potato here is cooked with the skin on, therefore providing that added fiber. I also love the fleshy crunch of the shredded coconut that's gone into this preparation. Papad is nice and crisp. I love that pickle. I love that bitterness of that lemon pickle. I think next it's time to go for the rice with the rasam and the majjige huli. You can see it's steaming away. That's how hot this rice is. And we're going to begin our rice journey here with the rasam. The rice is hot and the rasam is a shade cooler. The sort of combination that you can savor quickly. You know, the rasam here has a bit of body because they also add some coconut milk into it. There's also some green chilies in here. I love the very mellow acidity of the rasam and that mellow sweetness, that lingering sweetness that comes from the jaggery. I want all the flavors of the rasam absorbed into every grain of the rice. That's what I want. So if you like your rasam to be spicy, to be hot, definitely bite into that chili. This is such a pleasing rasam. I'm going to get some papad into that rasam now. There's such a party of flavors, textures happening in my mouth right now. Tempted as I am to go back for the rasam because it's seriously that good. I'm going to hold myself back and taste the majjige huli next. So this is the majjige huli and it also has some pumpkin in it. I expected the gravy to be thinner, but this is a thick gravy. I'm going to taste some of that. That majjige huli is thick but delicate in its flavors. I love that refreshing bite of that pumpkin, and it's also quite cool to the touch. That majjige huli makes for a refreshing mouthful as you come to the end of your meal here. But I have not come to the end of my meal by no count. I'm going to take some of the rice and pour the remnant of my bendekai saru. You can taste the hint of the hingu, the asafoetida, that gentle pop of the lady fingers, and the mild sweetness of the tomatoes. When it comes to South Canara food, there's always coconut, there's always jaggery, there's always a bit of tamarind in almost every savoury dish. Every meal in Nama Bengaluru can only be finished with some curd or the mosuru. So when the mosuru meets the rice or the anna, you have the mosaranna. And the way to eat the mosaranna is with a sprinkle of the salt and some of that pickle that's been hiding on my plate up until now. So you take that pickle and massage it almost into that mosaranna. You know, my mouth is watering even as I am mixing the lemon pickle into that rice. You want to get that pulp of the lemon pickle out and mix that into your rice. So you got a creamy yogurt, you got the tartness of the lemon and the bitter finish of the lemon rind. Buttermilk. So as if the majjige huli, the yogurt wasn't enough, I also have some buttermilk here to wrap up my vegetarian thali here at New Modern Hotel. You know, this meal feels so light. I've eaten all this rice, I've eaten all these vegetables, I've eaten the rasam, the majjige huli, the puri and the papad, but I don't feel heavy in the least. You know, it's a sort of feeling that you have when you eat a great meal at home. It just leaves you feeling light, refreshed and rejuvenated. That's the sort of vegetarian meal this is. So you have to end your meal here at New Modern Hotel with some traditional mithai. Of course, this is the badam halwa that we watched being prepared in the kitchen a short while ago. It's as fresh as that. And then you have the chiroti. Now this chiroti begins its life as a puri, as almost a sort of a puri that's made of semolina and maida, and then it is topped with powdered sugar, almond powder, and then a generous helping of milk is poured over it. You can see the flakiness of that chiroti. It's perhaps the Indian equivalent of a puff pastry. The yellow color of this dessert comes from the badam powder. As you're tasting the chiroti, you also taste the crunch of some of that puri or some of that chiroti that's not been submerged, soaked up with the milk. This is a sort of dessert that can bring a smile to anybody's face. So once you're done, you can also drink up that badam powder, that almond powder laced milk. Now that I've tasted some of the chiroti and I'm going to come back to that, I want to taste some of the badam halwa. I've watched this badam halwa being cooked. It's now cooled and solidified. This is a typical serving of the badam halwa. It's as rich as that. So you can You can only taste that much at a time. You can definitely taste that buttery goodness of all the ghee. You taste the granular texture of the almond and the aroma of the cardamom that's gone into this badam halwa. We watched it being made. It's 1 part almond, 2 part khova, 3 part sugar, and brace yourself for this, 6 part ghee. That's how decadently rich this badam halwa is. This is a sort of dessert that you can get addicted to. I needed some respite from all that mithai, and I found my respite in this cup of coffee. Strong, hot filter coffee. Just the sort that you need after a meal here at New Modern Hotel. That coffee cuts through that rich sweetness of the badam halwa. When you come to New Modern Hotel, you must definitely finish your meal with a badam halwa and a coffee. Of course, the badam halwa is available only on a weekend. The coffee, of course, you'll find every day of the week. I've thoroughly enjoyed my meal here at New Modern Hotel. It's a simple meal, but it's a meal that's rich in its history. It's a meal that's rich in its tradition that goes back 60 years. In the hustle and bustle of our daily existence, it's hard to find establishments like these that serve as a bridge to the glorious times of our past. And that's exactly the sort of experience that a meal at New Modern Hotel provides. From their delicious vegetarian South Canara style thalis, to their tiffin items, to their dosas, and to their sweetmeats, their coffee, and a lot more. Come here not just for a taste of deliciousness, but also for a peek into the glorious tradition of Namma Bengaluru's rich culinary history and legacy. Until the next episode of Gourmet on the Road, stay safe and happy eating or drinking, as the case may be.
At Food Lovers TV, my team and I work hard to produce engaging food and travel videos. If you like our work, do check out our Patreon page where you can pledge a nominal sum in lieu of special privileges like behind the scenes footage, early video release, exclusive Q&As, merch and much more. For more info, check out the link in the description below. Also, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe, share, like and leave a comment here. Happy eating!